It's a reality for nearly all men, but the ones who get this are different. Women adore it. Sounds like a bold claim maybe, but just think about it. How often do you notice a man who seemingly has every advantage, but can't forge genuine, lasting bonds with women? It's not about his profile, his wallet, or his bravado. The reality is, the majority of men are completely unaware of specific, small actions that can make them captivating. And right now, I'm going to lay out 7 guarded secrets that women intensely respond to but would never articulate. These are not the generic dating platitudes you've heard 1,000 times. These are nuanced psychological levers rooted in both science and classic Stoic wisdom that can reshape how women see you, making you magnetic without desperate effort. Picture it. What if you could connect with the unspoken wants that most women aren't even conscious of? What if you could distinguish yourself from 99% of other men with ease? Not by pursuing them, not by needing to prove your worth, but by grasping what truly makes a woman feel noticed, wanted, and deeply understood. And this is critical if you are unaware of these secrets. You're operating at a profound deficit. You might be failing to create the kind of allure that keeps her mind on you hours after you've gone. This is why you must watch this video through to the end. The final insight is the most transformative, and when you grasp it, your understanding of attraction will be forever changed. Before we begin, a quick request. If you are committed to mastering these powerful methods, click the like icon, subscribe to the channel, and activate notifications so you never miss the life-altering knowledge we share. Let's start. First secret, the language of touch before the bedroom. Imagine this scene. You're on a date. The dialogue is easy. She's smiling, and everything appears to be on the right track. Yet something feels incomplete. You can tell the deep connection isn't clicking into place. She's participating, but she's not fully pulled in. You see her home, send a message later, and get nothing but air. What went wrong? Most guys depend entirely on their words to build a spark. They believe clever conversation is the whole game. For women, however, connection is more than verbal. It is an emotional and physical experience. And there's a deeply underestimated tool for forging that link: touch. Not in an imposing, forceful manner, not in any way that makes her uneasy, but in a delicate, purposeful, and profoundly resonant way. One of the most ignored gestures that women deeply appreciate is a simple, calming message before any expectation of intimacy. Sounds basic, doesn't it? Here's its power. For women, an emotional link is as vital, or even more so, than sheer physical appeal. A well-timed, non-sexual touch expresses far more than your words ever can. It signals, I am aware of you. I am concerned for you. I want you to feel secure and at ease with me. This isn't about demonstrating your message skills or showing off. It's about being fully present in that moment with her, helping her feel relaxed, seen, and desired, not merely as a physical object, but as a whole person, the essential part. It's not about the contact alone. It is the intention that animates it. If you're merely performing an action, it will fall flat. But if you are focused, connected, and truly observing her reactions, she will absolutely feel it. The great Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius noted, "Stop debating what a good man is. Be one. Avoid over-analyzing. Don't create awkwardness. Simply exist in the moment and allow your actions to communicate for you." Here is the blunt reality. The vast majority of men will never invest the time to grasp this idea. That's why they remain in the 99% that fumbles with true emotional intimacy. But the men who learn this create profound, enduring connections that women find unforgettable. In a world where most guys chase quick validation and superficial exchanges, this kind of considerate gesture is exceptionally rare. And when you can deliver it, you join the 1%, the men who comprehend what women yearn for on a much deeper plane. Secret number 2. Masterful flirting that creates pull, not push. Most men completely botch the art of flirting. They either push way too hard, seeming aggressive and needy, or they are too hesitant, paralyzed by the fear of a misstep. The real story is that women enjoy being flirted with, but only if it's carried out with a confident, respectful touch. A man who can flirt with ease is compelling because he generates an atmosphere that's thrilling without being stressful. Flirting is not about hitting her with canned jokes or over-the-top flattery. It's about maintaining a playful, buoyant, and inviting dynamic. See it as a kind of dance. You suggest a direction, she moves with you, yet neither of you feels compelled into the steps. The simplest way to achieve this is with light-hearted, fun teasing. For instance, if she shares her favorite meal, you could reply, "Oh, that's so? That's your top choice. I can tell you've never tasted my signature dish." It's a gentle challenge that elevates the conversation while sparking a bit of fun rivalry. More importantly, skillful flirting is never about begging for her approval. The instant you appear to be trying too hard, you lose all your leverage. Women are instinctively drawn to men who are at ease with themselves, who can be playful without looking for validation. This connects directly to Stoic principles. A high-caliber man doesn't flirt with the goal of conquering a woman. He flirts because the act of interaction is enjoyable to him. He stays emotionally centered, never desperate for a particular outcome. Besides your words, your gaze and your posture are vital. A sure look in her eyes, a slight grin, a slow head nod, or a well-placed hesitation can communicate far more than any rehearsed line. Attraction is not built with just words. It is constructed through presence, energy, and self-assurance. When you flirt with this grounded mindset, women sense it right away. So ask yourself, are you flirting for show, or are you flirting to enjoy the here and now? Get this right, and you'll notice the dynamics of attraction tilt your way. Number 3, the surprising intimacy of a touch to her hair. This is an action most men are completely oblivious to, but women often love it when a man understands how to touch their hair. When executed at the perfect time, it stands as one of those subtle, seemingly minor actions that can forge an immediate emotional link. However, if timed poorly, it can come off as uncomfortable, clumsy, or even violating. The secret is to know the why behind its effect. The head is a highly sensitive part of the body, dense with nerves that can evoke deep emotional feelings. A perfectly executed, soft touch to her hair can convey powerful, unspoken signals of closeness, safety, and interest. This is about more than the physical feeling. It's about the silent communication. It might say, "I am focused on you. I am here with you, and I am connected to your energy." But this is where it usually goes wrong for men. They either make the move too soon or perform it like a robot, with no genuine feeling behind the gesture. Touching her hair isn't a mindless habit. It's about crafting a shared instant of closeness. Envision this: you are seated with her, deep in conversation, and at the ideal moment, you softly move a piece of hair from her face. That one gesture, performed with purpose and calm assurance, can speak volumes more than any sentence. Timing is paramount. This isn't a move for a first meeting, or before you've established any real emotional rapport. It lands best when she is already at ease with you, when the vibe is warm and charged with chemistry. If she subtly moves closer, if she gives a smile that encourages proximity, that's your cue that the moment has arrived. The biggest mistake is to initiate it when she isn't prepared, which makes your presence and emotional radar indispensable. From a Stoic viewpoint, this is linked to emotional perception and self-control. Stoicism advises us to interpret situations before acting on pure want, to remain in command, instead of being led by our desires. This implies you don't reach out just because you feel an urge, but because the time is right to deepen a bond. So, the next occasion you're with a woman and the timing feels right, do not disregard the impact of a simple brush of her hair. When done with assurance and meaning, it is one of those special, refined actions that leaves a lasting impression. The fourth signal, gliding with a hand on her back. This might appear to be a trivial, forgettable action, but in actuality, it conveys a great deal. A straightforward, a short touch on a woman's lower back while you lead her through a busy space, or as you walk together, sends a deeply attractive message of leadership, assurance, and a sense of safety. And still, 99% of men either don't think of it or freeze up, uncertain if it's the right move at all. Women don't require grand theatrical displays of maleness to feel protected. They respond to nuanced, innate cues that a man is centered, present, and has the capacity to lead. When you lay your hand on her back with a calm, self-possessed air, you communicate that you're in charge of yourself and the environment, all without uttering a word. This isn't about power or manipulation, but rather about demonstrating through a physical act that you are present, attentive, and guiding with an understated strength. Yet, this is where most guys stumble. They either wait too long, making the gesture clumsy, or they execute it in a manner that seems contrived and inorganic. This move is not about being possessive or fishing for approval. It's about presence. Done right, the touch is feather, light but firm, momentary but purposeful, just enough for her to notice and acknowledge your presence in a way that feels smooth and unforced. Let's paint the scene. You are walking next to her, moving towards a restaurant door. As you move slightly ahead to hold the door for her, your hand momentarily rests on her lower back, just enough to steer her through without interrupting the flow. It's an instant of quiet direction, a move that subconsciously confirms to her that she is with a man who navigates the world with confidence and purpose. In a Stoic sense, this is directly related to self-command and emotional presence. Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't argue about what a good man should be one. A man of quality doesn't need praise for his actions. He simply is a vessel of strength, awareness, and quiet command." When you place your hand on her back, you're not angling for a specific reaction. You are simply acting as a man of presence and direction, and that in itself is compelling. In a landscape where many men are either overly cautious or excessively aggressive, perfecting this simple but potent move distinguishes you as someone who gets the fine balance between power and consideration. Secret 5. Becoming her anchor, the true protector. Let's cut through the chatter for a moment and be real about an impulse every man knows, but few discuss openly. The profound desire to protect, to guide, to be a rock she can depend on when life gets chaotic. This isn't because she's incapable, and it isn't about wanting to manage her. It's because it's embedded in your masculine identity to provide shelter, not to suffocate, to be a foundation, not a pursuer. Here is the part that eludes most men's women deeply desire that. Not a security guard, not a micromanager, but a man whose very being conveys, without a sound, "You are secure with me." And here's the surprising part. You don't get this position through big muscles or a big bank account. You get it through emotional fortitude. You see, most guys believe that being her champion means rushing in with answers, resolving her issues, instructing her on what to do, or fixing her difficult day like it's a faulty appliance. But that's not what she's looking for. What she truly desires is a man who can remain steadfast while she processes her feelings. A man who doesn't recoil when she is emotional, who doesn't attempt to suppress it, discount it, or make it about his own comfort. She wants to see that you can handle her intensity without losing your own composure. Because when a woman feels overwhelmed, whether it's mentally, emotionally, or hormonally, she's not seeking someone to repair her. She is seeking someone who won't be rattled by the turbulence, someone who doesn't look for an exit, someone who doesn't react, someone who is simply there, but remains centered. This is what truly makes you her protector. It isn't loud or dramatic. It's not romantic in a Hollywood fashion. It is consistent, silent, and solid. The more she experiences this from you, the more she is able to settle into her own femininity, because she no longer feels she has to hold everything together. She isn't the one steering the emotional ship. She can finally release her grip because she feels that you have her, even when she's difficult to be around. Now, to be specific, being her protector involves letting her feel her emotions without you jumping in to fix them. Listening with your entire presence, not just your ears, and maintaining your calm when she tests you, not to discipline her, but to show that her emotional waves won't shatter your foundation. It's about taking charge in tense situations without lengthy justifications. Your serenity is the signal. Here is the key insight. You establish yourself as her protector before she needs one. This means you don't merely handle drama. Your energy helps prevent it. You create the emotional climate in the room. You move with intention. You speak with clarity. And you never have to announce, "I've got your back," because your entire bearing communicates it. But let's be very clear. This is not about becoming her emotional dumping ground. Being a protector does not equate to accepting disrespect, instability, or emotional games. It means you safeguard your own peace above all, because a man unable to protect his own inner state cannot truly protect hers. This is why Stoic wisdom is so relevant in relationships. As Seneca wrote, "No man ever became wise by chance." You don't fall into this role. You deliberately choose it. You construct it. Not to win her over, not to prove a point, but because it is who you are, who you've decided to be, who you must become to guide, not to chase, to shelter, not to demonstrate. And here lies the beautiful paradox. When you fully step into this protector energy, her perception of you shifts. She relaxes. She becomes more receptive. She trusts you more. Not because you rescued her, but because you demonstrated that she never needed to rescue you. So, if you are finished with trying to earn love through over-giving, if you're sick of being an emotional doormat just to keep her near, if you are finally prepared to lead with a grounded masculine presence, type this below: "I protect with presence." Because the man she desires, the one her very nervous system respects, isn't the one who makes the most noise. He's the one who stays solid when it matters, the one who listens without intervening, who holds a space without fear, and who guides without losing his own way. That is the man she can count on. That is the man she will open up to. That is the protector, not of her person, but of her feeling of safety in your presence. Number 6, the beard as a statement of masculinity. Okay? Let's discuss something that on the surface appears purely aesthetic, but actually connects to something much more fundamental: a beard. For some, it is mere facial hair. For others, it's a personal mark. But for her, if you wear it properly, it can spark an attraction that feels almost primal. Now, I am not suggesting all women are fans of beards. Preferences vary from clean, shaven to a bit of scruff to a full-on woodsman's style. But setting aside individual taste, there's a reason facial hair has long represented something essential, something masculine, something quietly potent, and women pick up on it, even if they cannot always articulate why. This is because a beard alters not just your appearance, but your perceived essence. And in the world of attraction, perception is key. You see, a maintained beard conveys maturity. It hints at life experience. It gives you an edge. It says silently, this man has moved past his boyish stage. He's not looking for approval. He just is. And that just is quality, that is stoic, that is masculine, that is the type of presence that says more than any words. Let's dig deeper. Psychologically, facial hair suggests dominance and substance. Not the loud, showy kind of dominance, but the silent variety. The kind that enters a space and has no need to announce itself. It communicates through calm, through presence, through attention to detail. When a woman encounters a man with this bearing, especially if he sports a beard with assurance and grooming, it strikes something ancestral within her. She registers safety, but also power. She feels she is with a man who can both shelter and challenge. Someone not easily influenced by the opinions of others. Someone who defines his own life. But to be precise, this isn't about simply growing facial hair. A beard done properly is more than a look. It is a reflection of your self-discipline. It says, I maintain myself. I focus on the small things. I am invested in my presence. An untamed, messy beard doesn't project strength. It projects negligence. But a groomed, deliberate beard declares, I understand who I am, and I'm comfortable embodying it. Now, for the subtle part people rarely mention. When a woman touches your jaw, running her fingers through your beard, she isn't only appreciating the texture, she is experiencing something more profound. It is a physical contact, but it's also a study in contrast. Your roughness meeting her smoothness, her soft skin against your textured edge. It's a full sensory event, and it communicates powerfully. That's what many guys don't grasp. A beard doesn't simply alter how you look, it creates a dynamic tension. And that tension is the engine of chemistry. Not sameness, not ease, but contrast masculine and feminine, calm and energy, power and surrender. A beard, when coupled with the correct personal energy, becomes a way to magnify this tension, to make her feel more acutely feminine, just by being close to you. But again, it's never just about the beard. It's about the man who wears it. If your personal energy is weak, if your personal standards are shifting, if you pursue, over-explain, or try to buy affection, no amount of facial hair will alter her perception of you. But if you carry yourself like a man, quiet when needed, focused in your attention, anchored by your purpose, then the beard becomes more than a style choice. It transforms into an emblem of the man you have forged, and that is the source of its charm. Let's connect this to the Stoics. Epictetus said, "First, know who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." You do not grow a beard to hide a lack of confidence. You grow it as a manifestation of your identity. It doesn't give you strength, it reflects the strength that's already there. So, whether you opt for a clean shave or let it flourish, do so with clear intention. Don't chase fashions, don't copy other styles. Lead with your personal presence and let all else align with it. And if this message struck a chord with you today, if you now see that masculinity is not just an internal feeling, but also a visual signal, then put this in the comments. I wear my strength. Because the man who is sure of himself doesn't just have a beard. He wears it as a signal, a quiet communication to her that this is a man who has nothing to prove. He already is. The seventh secret, the deep connection of shared laughter. Allow me to ask you this, my friend. When was the last time you elicited a truly genuine laugh from a woman? I'm not talking about a polite chuckle, not the kind of "you're hilarious" that follows a joke that didn't land. I mean that authentic, free, unrestrained laugh. The kind that makes her lean back and let go of everything for a moment. The kind that leads her to touch your arm impulsively. The kind that demolishes her defenses without you saying a thing. Because here is something most guys miss: laughter is more than just amusement. It's a form of intimacy. It's incredibly disarming. It flies right past her logical brain. It bypasses reason and settles directly into her nervous system. Are you curious about the real psychology at play here? When a woman is laughing with you, her brain produces oxytocin, the chemical that fosters bonding, the very same one she experiences during physical contact, during intimacy, during moments of trust. And in that instant, you cease to be just the person she's having a conversation with. You become the man she feels comfortable with, the person who feels like a safe harbor. Now, most men will never unlock this. Why is that? Because they are so preoccupied with being impressive, with finding the perfect words, with maintaining an image of being strong, stoic, or enigmatic. And while those things have a function, if they are all you project, she will feel respect, but not a deep pull. She'll see you as composed, but ultimately, she might forget you. Laughter is the thing that cements you in her memory. It's the secret ingredient, the break in the tension, the moment of relief when she thinks, "This man makes my life feel better." But here is the critical distinction. It's not about transforming into a stand-up comic. It's not about working overtime to be her source of entertainment. It's about recognizing when to relax in the moment, when to playfully tease her, when to allow her to tease you in return, and when to not be so hard on yourself. That is what forges the kind of connection that can feel electric without any physical touch. Let me describe a scene. You're with her. The energy is calm. The mood is relaxed. You pick up on something, a tiny detail no one else would see, and you deliver a witty, perfectly placed observation. A smile forms on her lips. She tries to suppress it. She can't. And now both of you are sharing a laugh. That specific moment, right there, holds more power than the best pickup line, because it wasn't contrived, It belonged to the two of you. Shared, organic, and authentic. The beautiful thing is, she will revisit that feeling later. Not your words, but the emotional state. She will not recall the exact joke, but she will remember how light she felt in your presence. And in a world that often feels heavy and demanding to her, that feeling is magnetic. Now, here is the mistake many men make. They believe laughter is a sign of weakness, that if they aren't always serious, they won't be respected. But this is completely inverted. The man who can be light-hearted without sacrificing his depth is a rare find. He's captivating. He's incredibly appealing. This is because he has no need to be constantly on to project power. He understands that laughter does not diminish his masculine presence. It amplifies it. It demonstrates that he isn't intimidated by the moment, that he is the master of his own energy, that even in his calmness, he can spark joy. Let's link this back to Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius once remarked, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing." But he also stated, if you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it. Essentially, your capacity to reframe reality, to convert tension into ease, that is genuine strength. And laughter is the tool for that shift. It's how you guide her emotional state back towards joy, how you show her that masculinity does not always need to be solemn, that power can smile, that groundedness can create sparks. So, if you've been shouldering the burden of always being the intense guy, if you've lost touch with how it feels to simply appreciate the moment with a woman without needing control, without putting on a show, it's time to rediscover that side of yourself. Not to impress her, but to reconnect with your authentic self first. Because the man who laughs with her, not at her, not for her, but with her, constructs something that goes deeper than simple attraction. He constructs an emotional memory. And if this is who you are stepping into now, put this in the comments. I lead with lightness. Because the man who makes her smile is the man she will want to be near, not just when life is a thrill, but also when it's challenging. Because laughter, my friend, is not merely a noise, it is a signal. And when it's shared, it forges a bond that she cannot put into words but will never forget. The eighth secret, the magnetic pull of a man's mission. Let's move beyond mere attraction for a moment, past the touch, the teasing, and the chemistry. Let's discuss something women deeply desire but seldom know how to request: a man with a vision. This isn't just about a career, a target, or a 5-year plan. I am referring to a direction, a purpose. A man who isn't just getting by, but is actively creating something. Because this is the reality that many men miss. Nothing draws a woman in more intensely than a man who is steadfastly moving towards something larger than his own life. This is not about wealth. It's not about recognition. It isn't even about the specific mission itself. It is about what having a purpose reveals about you. It reveals you are vibrant. It reveals you are not inert. It reveals you greet each day with a reason, and that kind of energy is infectious. Do you want to know what women truly find irresistible? It's the man who can look her directly in the eyes and say, "I have to leave soon. I have work to do." And he genuinely means it. Not because he is trying to get away from her, but because he has a commitment to not get lost in her. That is the core secret. You do not capture her heart by making her your entire world. You capture it by staying committed to your own journey and allowing her to witness the passion in your eyes when you speak of it. And here is the reason it is so effective. Because when a woman senses your forward momentum, when she observes that you are pursuing something authentic, that you are not idly waiting for life to bring you things, she develops a profound respect for you. She